everyone, I'm Tasmia from Microbiology, and today I'll be speaking on the topic flocculation. I will start with what is flocculation is a process by which or a chemical agent is added to the water or the desired solution. And this agent or the coagulant actually helps or facilitates it between the particles, creating them into larger aggregates or larger particles, which are very is basically used for a lot of purposes, but I'll go about those purposes in detail in the later slides. But for the starter, I would like to say that this method is commonly used in water treatment plants and can also be used in sample processing for monitoring its application. So, my next we have what happens during flocculation or the flocculation process. During flocculation, gentle mixing is done, which increases or accelerates the rate of the collision between the particles. And the destabilized particles present are aggregated or they are larger precipitates. Now, flocculation process is affected by several parameters such as the speed of the mixing, the intensity of the mixing, and the time taken for mixing the solution. So the product you get as the result of mixing intensity and the mixing time is used to describe this. The primary purpose of this flocculation process is actually the removal of the. Here we have the diagrammatic representation of the flocculation, where you can see that in the first picture, before flocculating, the turbidity of the solution is seen, and after adding the flocculant, the particles are settled down in the bottom as a sediment, and now it is separating. We can this helps them in separation. In the next diagram, it is the form presentation. Like I said in the previous slide, that the particles after the addition of the flocculant they become destabilized, and this leads to the collision, and the particles get aggregated. Next, we have the most commonly used flocculants for the process. The examples are vinegar, gelatin, and aluminium sulfate. Most commonly for water management, such as for the water purification, aluminium sulfate is used, which is also commonly called alum. It is used to clarify the water by neutralizing the electrical double layer. Basically, we use this for clarifying water by neutralizing the electrical double layer surrounding the fine suspended particles in the water, the turbidity. This allows them to flocculate, and after flocculation, the particles will become large enough to settle down for separation. So, in the next slide, we have jar test. Like the people working for the people who are working for the flocculation process, or in case we are dealing with the process, then we need to know that which flocculant and the dosage of the flocculant that needs to be added for the solution or the water for the purification process. So for this we perform the jar test. So the procedure goes with, we need to fill the jar testing apparatus containers with the sample water, and then you add the flocculant to and stir it approximately at 1000 rpm for 1 minute. Reduce the stirring speed to 40 rpm and continue mixing for 40 minutes. Then allow the containers to settle down for 30 minutes. Then later on, for the final step, we'll measure the turbidity present in each container. So this is the pictorial representation of how jar test is actually performed. In the second picture, you can clearly see how the flocculated particles are at the bottom of the jars, so that it is easier for separation. For the final slide, we have application of the flocculation. For the first point, we have in a medical laboratory, flocculation is the core principle used in the various diagnostic tests. For example, the rapid plasma reagent. Flocculation is used in biotechnology application in conjunction with microfiltration to improve the efficiency of the biological feeds. The addition of this synthetic flocculants to the bioreactor can increase the average particle size, making microfiltration more efficient. Flocculation is widely employed to measure the progress of the curd formation in the initial stages of cheese making. to determine how long the curd must. Flocculation and sedimentation are widely employed in the purification of drinking water as well. For like I mentioned in the second slide itself, that it is used for the separation. So as well as in the sewage treatment, stormwater treatment, and treatment of industrial wastewater streams. Thank you. Then that brings us to the end. I would like to thank you all for your time and attention. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Tasmia. I request the next presenter,
Thank you, sir.
Rupa.